I'm telling you, so
Right?
it's the car.
That's it. That's the car. Yeah, we are actually winning the safety statistics. Yeah, which is good.
How long you been training yourself?
You never stop training.
Okay.
You never stop training. Yeah, you never stop learning. My first logbook entry was on a date where I wasn't still yet born. You get into that airplane, you crank the motors, the starter motor, and just go.
Good afternoon. Today we are at Friedrichshafen Aero Show, and we got a very unique chance to speak to Martin, who is a pilot himself, and he's an operation of Diamond aircraft. And we would ask Martin to present himself first of all, and then start to tell what exactly you sell and what are the advantages of Diamond. So that's what we want to discuss today.
Thank you for having the opportunity to speak here in this interview. Thank you very much, and it's a great pleasure to have you here. Yeah, thank you. My name is Martin Scherrer, and I'm responsible for Diamond's flight operations and Diamond's flight training, yeah. I'm working for Diamond since 2004. Yeah, so
it's really long career. It's almost 20 years.
Oh
yes.
yeah. And yeah, so we're gonna highlight a little bit what the main features of Diamond aircraft are now.
You see, me personally, as owner of another generation of aircrafts of VLG, Honda Jet, I'm not that much aware of the turboprops like Diamond, but me personally, I've been flying many times with the, I think, previous version of Diamond 62, and I love it very much. It's a very nice car in the air.
Right.
But tell us more on how it looks on technical side. So this is the new model, yes? This is a new generation.
So we basically have our fleet of products. We have distributed into 4 parts. The 2 main parts is it single or twin? Yeah.
Yes.
Engine. So we are actually all using diesel engine, piston engines, but the technology is always the diesel engine behind it. We also produce our own engine at Diamond with the subsidiary Austria Engines.
Okay.
Yeah. It's based on a Mercedes Daimler technology.
That's what I'm telling you. So it's the car.
That's it. That's the car. Yeah. And then between this single engine or twin engine airplanes, we distinguish in the size. Yeah. So we do have the 4-seaters, or the luxury class. And as you speak like this, you see here in the background, this is the Diamond DA62. This is our biggest model, and this is an up to 7-seater. So back to the automotive, back to the cars, I always say it's the SUV of the sky. Yes. Yeah? And this is powered by 2 Austria engine AE330, each 180 horsepower engine, turbocharged, and this power can be held up to 10,000 feet, where it then slowly decreases, and the certified altitude of this airplane is 20,000 feet. While the cruise speed is up to 190 knots, which is approximately 380 minus 40, it's about 340 kilometers per hour.
Okay, and it's one pilot operation?
Correct. The airplane is very intuitive and very simple to operate. We have here the most modern avionics from Garmin, with the Garmin G1000 NXi, which gives a very good interface to the pilot, and doing so, these aircraft can be easily flown by single pilot operations. Yeah.
So single pilot plus 6 passengers, which is really good.
Up to 6 passengers. There's an options of having different kind of seat rows and seating configuration, but up to 6 passengers. Yes, correct.
How safe are these aircrafts?
We are that safe that we are actually winning the safety statistics, which is good. You always have to distinguish between passive safety and active safety. This means actually, what's the difference? The difference is the safety which prevents that something is happening, and the other safety is if something happens, make the lowest amount of injury.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the Diamond has put a very high effort and very high standards into these safety conditions. We can talk probably about not the next days about the safety concept of Diamond aircraft, but just taking the kind of human-machine interface, the easy operational conditions of these aircraft, the power it has, the excess power it has, second engine for sure. These are all points which helps you to prevent something. But if it comes to the point and you have the accident, we do have a lot of different items inside the aircraft which prevents that there's injury coming up. For example, the tanks in the wings. Yeah, these are aluminium tanks protected by 2 wing spars.
Okay.
So we have 2 wing spars, which actually already also makes the flight with 1 wing spar possible, but we have 2 of them, right? And this already protects the fuel inside the crash, right? Or you are just actually sitting inside the cabin here in some kind of a monocoque structure with crash worthiness tested seats, and which absorb the energy. So it doesn't give it further to your spine, for example, right? So the safety concept is very big here.
And you see, we have clients who never been really operating or flying private jets like these themselves. So let's say if you have a person who has some sufficient time and can a bit relax and enjoy flying from zero level, how long time could it take for the education to become a pilot of these aircraft, to fly his own family?
That's a very good question, because in contrast to business jets or to complex aircraft, these aircraft are simple to operate, so it doesn't. For sure, it needs training and decent training, comprehensive training in a certain way, because the more he knows and the more abilities he has, the safer his operation is.
Yes, sure.
But it is absolutely sufficient to have a private pilot license and a multi-engine piston rating to fly this aircraft. So I would say if he puts significant effort in it, it can be done within a couple of months.
So 2-3 months, 3 months. Let's say.
This would be very enthusiastic, I would call it, right? To make a private pilot license to the multi-engine within 3 months. This is very fast, but I would not say it's impossible.
So, but the standard process would be some theoretical, of course, part.
Correct.
Then simulators, I assume.
Not necessarily for the private pilot license. So basically what you do is a theoretical part. You can do this also on basis of CPT training. So for example, Diamond is here partnering with a company called Avionica. They do very good basis on CPTs. So you can get this information out of the CPTs, you can learn on your own, but you still have standardization courses within the flight school. And then you do about 45 hours of flight training, the skill test, and to be able to make the rating for a multi-engine aircraft, you have to have 70 hours, I'm talking about EASA standards, European standards, 70 hours of piloting command time on the single, then you can do the multi-engine time. And the multi-engine is not a big topic, this is done within 3-4 days. So it's enthusiastic training, but it is something which it's possible within a couple of months.
How long you been training yourself?
You never stop training.
Okay.
You never stop training. You never stop learning. But
and which aircraft are you flying yourself? Which one do you prefer? Let's put this way.
My preferred aircraft is for sure. Well, the Diamonds. They really fly like pilot planes. They're really very intuitive to fly. It's hard to say a specific model because all of them have certain kind of advantages and disadvantages against each other. But if I would put it up to a rating, I would probably go for a 42, right? Because this is piloting wise very intuitive, very nice to fly. It's a little bit smaller and therefore more intuitive, so to speak. The 62 is on the other side. It's big in the cockpit, I'm also flying the Phenom 100.
Okay.
And I tell you, the 62 is bigger. It's bigger than the Phenom 100.
Let's say, if you choose in between, as a pilot, to choose in between flying Diamond 62 and Phenom 100, you would take Diamond. Okay.
Right.
No, I really, you know, you don't my personal impression, you don't feel that you are in aircraft. So
Right.
I mean, you feel yourself like in standard road car, and you don't feel any.
It's the pilot's own aircraft, you know. The Phenom and the smaller business jets do have their business, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But as a pilot, yeah, I prefer such aircraft.
And I love this Diamond 42, which is in front of us. It seems to be a bit changed model. Yes, it's a new generation of Diamond 42.
Yeah, the 42 has been on the road for quite a while, about 20 years. Yeah, and with different kind of engines that came through, and a couple of years ago we did the newest generation, which is the 42 with the Austria engines, 170 horsepower each side. And then we also implemented up to 24 aerodynamical changes, which increase the performance of the aircraft in respect to takeoff, ground roll, and cruising performance, glide performance, and so on. And this is what we call the DA42-6, the sixth generation of this aircraft.
Okay. Tell a bit more about technical part of this.
Sure. So basically, the 42 and the 62, they are procedures-wise, equipment-wise, system equipment-wise, and performance-wise, very similar aircraft. Yeah. So if you fly one of these airplanes, it's very easy to convert to the other. Yeah. Basically, is the difference about the size in the cabin. Yeah. So we're talking here about a speed of again about 190 knots, 340 km approximately, 18,000 feet maximum altitude, and a maximum takeoff mass of 2 tons. So this is a little bit lighter than the 62. Yeah, we're talking here about, let's say, 500 kilograms of payload, depending for sure which kind of options are installed in the aircraft. While we're talking here about 650 kilograms of payload.
Diamond 42, what kind of options could be?
Let's distinguish in different kind of ranges. There could be avionics options, could be weather avoidance options, there could be navigation options, yeah, there could be comfort options. Yeah. So I give you examples for each of those, right? So navigation options could be, do I have a DME, do I have an ADF, right? Weather avoidance options, yeah, weather radar, anti-icing system, all right? Oxygen system to fly high, yeah, is also a possibility, because it's not a pressurized cabin though, right?
Yes,
so
I fly myself Diamond 62 above Mont Blanc, and
right.
I don't know how to call it in English. In French we call it cannuli.
Yeah.
So when you put some cannulas, when you put oxygen, it looks a bit dangerous, but nothing special. Can you explain how it works and what is it for?
Well, the main important thing is the higher you fly and you do not pressurize your cabin, yeah, so you do not boost your cabin, because all these jets, which are flying at very high altitudes, they simulate an atmosphere inside the cabin, which is similar to a higher mountain, like 2,000 meters, right? So nothing specifically bad, but if you do not have this kind of pressurization, which is heavy and very expensive, yeah, if you do not have such kind of a pressurized cabin, you are faced to the atmosphere in which you are flying at. Which means if you're flying at 5,500 meters of altitude, you just have half of the air pressure, right? Which means, you also have less oxygen available. But you need the oxygen for your normal body to work, right?
Absolutely.
So we're talking here about the hemoglobin saturation, right? Which needs to be at least 92% and higher.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you do not get this kind of oxygen saturation, then it becomes dangerous. Yeah, because your body and your brain also cannot work as you should do.
But this equipment is required only when you fly really high, like for example,
above 10,000 feet,
like
right?
Crossing Mont Blanc.
Yes, correct.
And you don't really have that many Mont Blancs in Europe.
No, but let's put it like this: you can easily get into conditions where you say, I have an icing layer between 5,000 and 10,000 feet.
Okay. You have to jump over.
My instrument minimum flight altitude is 6,000-7,000 feet in that area. Yeah. So I'm full in the icing conditions, right?
Yes.
Which I want to avoid, so I climb up. Oh, 10,000 feet, 11,000 feet, I'm still in there.
Yes, yes.
12,000 feet, 13,000. Now I'm getting out of the clouds. Yeah.
Yes.
But now I'm too high.
Yes.
Yeah? And now you want to take the oxygen. And this is exactly what you mentioned. You have these cannulas,
Yes.
this oxygen bottle, which actually gives you the necessary amount of oxygen for the flight altitude you're flying at.
Yes. I mean, it looks a bit strange, but nothing special.
It looks a little bit adventurous, yes, correct, but this is actually for flight safety.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, considering the difference in the pricing for aircrafts with
Right.
pressurization and without, so I mean,
Yeah, that's
3-4 times difference.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
it's really important.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, and then we do have options like comfort options. Yeah, like an air condition.
Yes.
Right? An air conditioner is a pure comfort thing. There's nothing about safety and so on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and these sometimes, especially for southern France and Monaco, you need air conditioning, I believe.
Yes, if you're talking about maybe doing some sort of kind of charter business where you have guests on board, you know, between you and me, we are pilots, we have the passion to fly. We take more torture than necessary probably sometimes. But if you want to have the innocent guy inside the aircraft, you just want to transport from A to B, you need to give them the comfort they like to have.
And can you give just an idea of operational costs for Diamond 62 and Diamond 42?
Yeah, so operational costs is a big discussion. What do you include here, right?
Yes, and tell us.
But a typical number where you can compare aircraft to aircraft is the direct operating costs. So a direct operating cost, DOC, is the number where you say, well, I have the aircraft on ground, how much does it cost per hour to get the aircraft into the air, right? So I already have paid for the insurance, I have paid for the pilot, I have paid for the hangar, I have paid for the purchase, call that all, But what does it specifically cost if I get this airplane up there, right? So this is basically maintenance costs per flight hour, and fuel.
Yes.
Okay. Maintenance cost per flight hour on the 62, you can estimate approximately 175 euros per hour, which includes already the overhaul of both engines, life limited parts, labors, consumables, and so forth. Right?
So in fact, without fuel, it's just below 200 euros. I mean, including all unpredictable costs and so on.
Yes, 175 on the 62, 135 on the 42.
Oh, it's even
lower, right? And fuel costs, this is for sure one of the big advantages of Diamond.
Changes all the time.
Yes, but this is one of the big advantages of Diamond because we are using this diesel technology, very low fuel consumption, and we're using jet fuel. Because even though it's a piston engine, and normal piston engine actually have this kind of Afgas 100 octane fuel, but this is using kerosene fuel, Jet A1, which is cheaper and the fuel consumption is low. So we're talking here about, depending on the fuel price for sure, but let's call it about 50 euros per hour.
50 euros per hour?
50 euros per hour approximately.
50 euros per hour, it's not much.
No.
I mean, probably it's 3 times of the car, but it's a different speed and different.
If you have the fuel taxes, then for sure it depends on the.
So 250 euros per hour, probably including this all taxes and so roughly 250. So I mean, for me to fly from Nice to Paris, if I decide today for tomorrow, it would be 700 euros, 900 euros.
And you got into the point where you want to be and fly there, and there's no check-in times, no waiting times and so on. And you fly when you want to fly.
Yeah, it's really
and not
impressive.
when the airline tells you.
It's really impressive considering the absolutely different level of comfort and service and time spent.
And you have to say that this aircraft certified for bad weather conditions, which means you do have an anti-icing system which is certified for known icing. You do have a weather radar on board, you do have oxygen on board where you can get high and so on. So it is a certain kind of independence which it gives to you, right? Because this is always the problem with the smaller airplanes, that if they don't have these kind of systems, it's nice to have it, but when you want to fly now I have my date in Paris, I need to go there, then weather is bad, can't use it. But with these aircraft, you're literally weather independent, for sure. in the normal safe way how to operate an aircraft.
Interesting. And so we discussed briefly two aircraft. So what else you present at Friedrichshafen Air Show?
Correct. So we do have here these the twin engine airplanes, yeah, and exactly the same airframe in cabin-wise we have as a single engine counterpart. The 42 has a DA40 and the DA62 has a DA50. Yeah? It's a 5-seat aircraft against a 4-seat aircraft, single engine, so you can watch it is the same. They have very similar engine systems, and for sure with a single engine the operational capability gets lower, right? But also the price gets much lower, right? And very specifically what we actually show here at Aero Friedrichshafen, we're delighted to show, is that a new project comes up which presents the sustainable energy thinking we have today in our generation, because we are showing off here with our DA40, electro-driven DA40. For sure, flying you from Saint-Tropez to Paris is probably not possible,
yes,
right?
It's
because
too far
this
away.
is too far away, right? But it shows you already that there is a way how to use electric energy inside aviation, and the idea is of having here a battery-powered electric engine for flight training purposes. So this aircraft can fly up to 90 minutes. Giving you the possibility to make a flight training sortie of 60 to 70 minutes, which is very usual, because after 60 or 70 minutes the flight student is done, right? And if the flight student is done, then the flight instructor is done. So one of these two are done, right? Yeah. So then it's time to land and recharge the battery. So this would be working, yeah? And so we are delighted to work on this project, and we should have the maiden flight of this system by year's end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you don't know yet the pricing idea and the time.
There is no commercial project numbers to share yet, yeah, because we really need to get batteries and that done, which is all on track, yeah. But let's get the maiden flight done first.
But when theoretically could be the finalization of certification? Because we know that it's not sufficient just to produce, but it's important also to get all necessary certification.
Let's cross our fingers for year end next year.
Oh, so fast.
Yeah, May of 2023, 2024ish. Because the aircraft itself is a certified airframe.
Yes.
Yeah? And this is the good thing as being an aircraft manufacturer. So that's the main advantage of being an aircraft manufacturer, that it can easily adapt, yeah, its certified airframes, yeah, to make a change, to make TC changes or also STCs, yeah, where you can work easily with that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's really impressive that for 20 years you are devoted to Diamond, almost
Right.
20 years.
Almost,
and,
yeah.
I like the company developed, and maybe the question I ask everybody: how you personally came to aviation? Why aviation?
That's a very good point. My first logbook entry was on a date where I wasn't still yet born.
Really?
Because actually my father gave it to with his genes give it
Yes,
to me,
yeah.
right?
So he was a pilot himself?
He was a pilot himself.
Okay.
Yeah? And I was still in the belly of my mother when he actually put me inside the logbook as I was flying with him. So that was quite funny.
Okay.
No, so no, it became from small on, and then started with gliding, doing the private licenses, so private pilot licenses, and pretty soon that I found out I want to work in aviation. For sure, piloting was always some kind of, I want to do that, but how can I do that? And after military service, I actually chose the way of doing an academic route, yeah, where I actually studied aviation technology, and parallel to that, I did the commercial pilot licenses and multis and instrument rating and so on. And within this university degree, I had an internship. This was 2004, and I was lucky to get this done at Diamond Aircraft.
Okay.
So they called me from the very first minute and said, yes, this is the company where I want to work.
And military service, you also made in aviation or no?
Yes, I was actually not as a flying part, but actually was on the technical team of Bell 212 helicopters. Yeah.
So you know how technical part works,
right?
By the way.
And well, I was also lucky to fly on these helicopters,
okay.
Right? So not as pilot, but I could join them.
Yeah.
And this was the same time when I did my private pilot license, so it was very good for me to see how they are operating, how the pilots are working here on a professional level. So this was great.
Yeah, that's really impressive. No, I like these aircrafts, and I think it's a very good solution probably for aviation academies, aviation schools, these type of
And the good thing is that the conversion from one aircraft type to the other is easy. So if you think about the syllabus of how to produce an ATP pilot, they start with a single engine aircraft, and then they work to the twin engine aircraft, and then they work further to a twin jet somehow with FS systems, and they basically start everything from simulators to the singles to the twins and so on, always with a full equipped FS aircraft. Yeah? So they really know how to operate the system.
So I assume, considering how popular Diamond aircrafts are, I assume that schools buys like a fleets, not just a single aircraft.
Yes, correct. So we do have also fleet sales products or programs, including flight simulators for our aircraft, for the DA40 and DA42. So this rounds up the complete solution. And I just recently managed, a couple of minutes, I managed the partnership with the Avionica company, which does the CPTs. So they actually provide also the CPT for the theoretical parts. Right? So we really have, you call it the flight school out of a box.
Okay, maybe a last question, considering that you've been so busy during the show. Tell me, what do you think about this Friedrichshafen show and how successful it was for you?
So far, it's day 3, right? Amazing, right? So I'm just chatting a little bit with our sales managers and say, well, I've stolen aircraft again. So it's really good. After 2 years of break, we are really delighted to be here again. Yeah, it's really nice to see the show, to see common faces and known faces, to have the talks but to see also new ones.
Yeah,
I have to say that the traffic itself with all the GA aircraft coming in and so on is always busy, but this is how it used to be, I would say. But I have to tell that the quality of the talks we have over here, right, increased a lot. It's very high quality discussions we have here.
How do you explain this? Why?
What I mean is that we still have the normal questions and answer sessions, but what the percentage of customers who wants to buy aircraft, right, and to make business with Diamond and so on, or partners who want to make business with Diamond, is on a very high level. So a lot of serious talks here.
I have my personal explanation to this, and in fact I agree with you that due to COVID, quite a number of people started rethink their understanding of aviation. So they faced lack of regular traveling,
right,
all these border control checks and so on. So I mean, now people understand that your own aircraft or chartered aircraft is probably easy solution. Like for example, if you want to come from France to whatever Slovenia, and then you have to cross for example by car Italy, and in Italy you have a new we had it in February or March. In France we haven't had these COVID passes. In Italy they still had passes.
Right.
They were not accepting French passes.
It's a headache.
You have to use the mask, while in other countries you don't use.
And you are here talking about countries.
Yes.
Did you know in the beginning of COVID, Germany exists of 16, what do you call it, regions or Bundesländer? 16.
Yes.
And every Bundesland had its own rules.
Yeah, and the same in Italy, by the way.
We wanted to ferry a DA14 to Hessen, right?
Yes.
And they said everything was planned, and we got an exemption to get there, and some where the borders have been closed, and we wanted to go to Hessen to Iggesbach.
Yes.
And on the day before flight, 1 hour before flight, the German police called me, you're not allowed to go. I said, oh really? Why? Yeah, because of COVID restrictions, you're not allowed to go. I called in Bavaria, in Straubing, where we're allowed to land. And so we go to Bavaria first and then make an inter-German flight. So it was strange.
No, but still in Germany there is a logic behind. But I can tell you my personal experience with Diamond, and that's, I mean, this is for the Diamond history books. We had just in the middle of COVID, it was like Christmas year before, the most difficult timing of COVID. We had AOG of our Honda Jet in Moscow airport.
Right.
And it was not that important, but still German staff, technical staff had to come to Russia to fix it, and it was minus 30 degrees and most active traveling period for all the people. And you know, every day only on parking in Moscow costs 1,000 euros. I mean, including all the cancelled flights and so on. And to come as a technician to come to Moscow, you had to get a visa, Russian visa, which in the Russian embassies they were not opening visas for foreigners because of the COVID limitations. So what we had to do, we had to put technician from Düsseldorf to Diamond 42 and fly on Diamond 42 as a crew member. 2 days flights with overnight in, I think, in Vilnius to Moscow. And we were
but you can do it in 1 day as well. If you take off in the morning.
No, but we had to, from the base, we had to collect again because of the same what the limitations. You said that in France we had the aircraft was parked in France and so on. And another thing that the aircraft had to leave Moscow the same day. So I mean.
Okay, understood. Yeah. So
we couldn't leave the pilots there.
Correct. You want to fly off in Vilnius early morning.
Yes.
That makes sense. You just fly there and leave on the same day.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And again, it was another issue, minus 35 or 40 degrees. To stay overnight, and Hangar, it's almost
so
crazy
difficult
there.
to keep the safety of air operations high with such kind of requirements.
Yes, but what I should say, without Diamond 42, where we could make so easy permissions and so on, we couldn't survive. So we could be stuck there.
And that's the point, because technicians, if you go to a higher level of operations like business jets and so on, you always have pilots and technicians, right?
Yes.
And very hard to combine them together, right? But on this level of GA traveling, you always find technicians which are also pilots.
Sure,
right? They travel for themselves. You talk about the German ones, they fly themselves up there and make
kind of kind of emergency pilots, technicians who can
field
fix
reps,
and test and fly
and putting the point up again, and this is what we have seen actually. Initially, when the COVID breakout and the lockdowns came, that the market dropped rapidly. But then, actually, exactly how you put it is that the market saw, well, there is an alternative way of flying to a reasonable cost level, right? Before I sit into the airlines tied together, and getting the danger actually of getting sick out of that. If the CEO gets sick, that's a bad thing for the company. I better make a point-to-point travel on their own airplane.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of customers. They are important CEOs. They're important politicians. They're whatever. And they do their own traveling. Right? They don't have pilots. They do their own.
Absolutely.
And this makes sense.
Yes. And most of our, especially elderly clients or clients with very small kids, they would prefer to avoid any changes. I mean, all these big airports, and also nobody, in fact, knows. Nowadays everybody, especially on COVID, but never knows how it's in big aircrafts, how it works. And I mean, let's say in 10-20 years we would know what does it mean COVID means.
That's correct. But not now.
But you know, if people can afford to pay extra 100 euros for private trip, then it's give advantage to all of us.
And the point is, I was just actually sitting in the cockpit with one of his customers today with applications like ForeFlight. Yeah, your flight planning is done in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
That's also
you send
important,
it over with Bluetooth to the aircraft.
Yes.
Everything is done within a couple of minutes.
Yes.
You sit in there at your at your airport, and within, frankly speaking, 2 hours, 3 hours of flight, you're everywhere. In Europe.
Sure.
If you mean airline, you have to travel 1 hour to the airport, then you have to be 1.5 hours to 2 hours before the departure time over there. So you are actually already at your destination when they start boarding.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is big advantages to that.
I really love diamonds. I really love the concept of the company. I love the quality of the aircrafts. As I told, I've been not even testing. I was flying, like ordering and flying myself from point to point for business meetings. And I should say that it's maybe it's not the same level of comfort as Honda Jet, but it's much cheaper. And,
but the point is, you don't need a type rating. You don't need to have two pilots. You do that yourself.
Yes.
Yeah? You get into the airplane. Yeah. You crank the motors, the starter motor, and just go. Right.
Yes.
And this is the big advantage.
You see, the only thing which limit me from obtaining license and fly myself, because I associate the traveling with champagne. And we had a big banker flying with me from Nice to Strasbourg. So we got a bottle of champagne, and we were drinking champagne inside Diamond 62 with the same level of comfort as we could have in luxury Maybach or Mercedes. So it's not even like a small car. I consider it like a more luxury car. It's like limo car. Right. And so I mean,
just don't fly yourself when you do something like that.
Yeah, sure. Because no, I mean that's the limit in me from flying myself.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing, right?
Okay, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your replies, and hope we work together.
Yeah, looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.